We are taught from day one that the harder you push, the further you go. That intense physical effort translates into a growing bank account. This chart shows economic productivity versus typical worker compensation. For decades, they moved in lockstep. You produce more, you earn more. That held true until the 1970s, when productivity rockets upward and pay flatlines. The surplus value was captured elsewhere, diverted to corporate profits. The old rules were built for mid-century factory floors, where an hour of physical labor had a fixed, predictable market value. Today, wealth is generated through algorithms, networks, and scalable systems. Relying exclusively on wages means trading your most finite asset, your time, inside an economic system that systematically devalues it. It is like running a depreciated protocol on modern hardware. Living paycheck to paycheck does something specific to the human brain. Behavioral economists call it the bandwidth tax. When you're forced to constantly calculate the trade-offs of everyday survival, deciding whether to pay the utility bill or buy groceries, your mental resources deplete rapidly. The brain exhausts itself computing micro-decisions. This exhaustion leaves almost zero cognitive capacity, or mental RAM, available for long-term planning. To build wealth, you need to step back, strategize, and learn new systems. But you cannot optimize a 5-year plan when your brain is fully occupied surviving Tuesday. The wage labor trap is self-reinforcing. It consumes your cash, and in the process, neutralizes the cognitive bandwidth needed to engineer an exit strategy. When a central bank expands the money supply, new dollars do not appear evenly. They are injected at the very top of the institutional hierarchy. This creates what is known as the Cantillon Effect. The institutions closest to the source get the new money first. They use this cheap credit to purchase assets like real estate and equities before the broader market reacts. By the time that liquidity finally reaches the average wage earner, the total supply of money has expanded. The cost of living has gone up. For the worker at the bottom of the chain, that new money manifests entirely as consumer inflation. The wealthy hold the majority of their net worth in financial assets, which inflate in price. The working class holds cash, which loses purchasing power. Inflation functions as a highly effective hidden wealth transfer algorithm. It constantly moves capital away from the people earning wages, directly into the portfolios of the people owning assets. To fully weaponize those assets, the ultra-wealthy use a specific legally compliant protocol: buy, borrow, die. First, you buy assets like real estate, private businesses, or stock portfolios. Under the U.S. tax code, you are not taxed on an asset's appreciation until you sell it. So you simply hold the assets, letting them compound in value year after year, tax-free. When you need cash for living expenses or new investments, you do not sell. Selling triggers capital gains taxes. Instead, you use your portfolio as collateral to secure low-interest, tax-free loans. Since the IRS does not classify borrowed money as income, you extract millions in liquidity without paying a cent in income tax. When you pass away, those assets transfer to your heirs. Current tax law grants them a stepped-up basis, meaning the assets are revalued at their current market price. This completely erases the accumulated capital gains tax history. While a typical middle-class employee pays heavily on linear income, the asset class maneuvers through a frictionless algorithm built entirely on collateralized debt and asset ownership. For decades, the barrier to entering that asset class was prohibitive. But the internet introduced a structural vulnerability to elite financial gatekeeping: permissionless leverage. Investor Naval Ravikant argues that the apex levers for modern wealth creation are code and media. The mechanics here are simple. You write a piece of software, record a podcast, or publish a digital product once. It can then be replicated and distributed to 8 billion people at zero marginal cost. Traditional leverage strictly required permission. To scale labor, a manager had to hire you. To scale capital, a bank or investor had to give you their money. Code and media require zero permission. You just build it. Creating digital assets rewrites an individual's economic output. It upgrades a worker from linear addition to infinite exponential multiplication. This concept of permissionless scale extends to the money itself. Proof-of-work protocols and decentralized finance represent structural, mathematical alternatives to the fiat operating system. A decentralized currency operates at a hard-capped supply dictated by unalterable code. Because no central authority can print new tokens to distribute to their preferred institutions, the Cantillon Effect is neutralized. Furthermore, automated smart contracts open up traditional wealth-building protocols. Average users can now execute collateralized asset strategies, like buy, borrow, die, using decentralized lending pools, without needing access to elite private banks. Web3 architecture operates as a disruptive patch to the global economy. It removes a central bank's ability to arbitrarily dilute the purchasing power of the working class. But this new financial frontier is still highly experimental. It operates exactly like volatile, untested beta software. The decentralized ecosystem is prone to extreme market speculation and regulatory crackdowns. When you operate outside of traditional institutional safety nets, there is no one to bail you out if a smart contract fails or a market collapses. Despite these immense risks, migrating from a labor-centric mindset to an asset-centric architecture is no longer optional for those seeking to escape financial stagnation. Hard work used to mean sheer physical exertion, trading your hours for a set amount of dollars. In an economy where productivity and compensation have permanently decoupled, that approach is a systemic glitch. In the future operating system of global wealth, true financial autonomy is only achieved by building automated systems, leveraging permissionless code, and holding digital assets that scale while you sleep.